everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nerdy Up North podcast, the nerdy podcast hosted by two Northern nerds. I'm one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm the other host, Paul.
And today we're joined by another special guest.
Hi, my name's Jake.
So, Jake's one of our, main members of the Facebook group, I would say, who posts a lot of interesting topics, which I like to do. It's not just memes with Jake. He has a lot of good opinions.
There's plenty of memes.
I think the memes, but I do like a bit of a conversation as well. So, I think, your point of view always comes across well. I think that's the way I would always put it.
You.
But if you just want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your nerdism, shall we say?
Yeah. So, like I said, I've mentioned a few times in the Facebook group, I do some nerdy drum covers, like I've done Power Rangers and the Pokemon theme. And I'm going to do some more once I get some more time and it's a bit less hot in the attic, because that's where I record. It's been pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I'm just your sort of classic, born in 88, played video games my whole life and loves me some movies as well.
Cool.
Why do people have to depress me with their age?
It's closer than the most than the last few. Like I say, you're 83, Sam. I was 82, so it's getting closer to our age.
Very close. I am in a new location this week with 3 dogs, and one of them has just spotted my neighbour outside. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to go and close the curtains. 2 minutes.
That's fine. But yeah. Like I say, computer games has always been a big part of me. I was always a Sega fan rather than a Nintendo fan growing up as well. So I don't know which ones you played on.
Super Nintendo was the first, but I had a neighbor who had a Mega Drive, so we used to climb over the fire escape to each other's flats and play both.
Cool. I was always a Sonic fan. I always thought Mario was too hard, especially Mario 3. Mario 3 with the leaves and stuff, but Sonic was always my boy back in the day.
Yeah, I was a Mega Drive girl. I was like the first kid on the street to have a Mega Drive. I was the cool one.
Sweet.
I've never been the cool one. That's nothing I've ever been cool to be. But yes, so this week we are returning back to the top 5, so quite excited about it. I know last week we did do the top 5 Marvel films, which was quite enjoyable. But this week we're going the action route. So we're doing our top 5 action films, which has been, like I say, a bit of a ball ache, shall we say, where my picks have changed on a daily basis. And even when I was telling you before we came on, it changed 5 minutes before we even started the podcast. So, but I have reverted back. I'm happy with my picks. I'm going forth, so I'm not changing them again, but I can't change them again. Definitely. So with Jake being our special guest, we always try and give them a chance to go first. I know Donna was a little nervous when she came on. She didn't want to go first with her picks, but we'll let Jake go with his first pick straight off the bat.
Yes, I'm fine to have a pick. So, what would you think if I said, if it bleeds, we can kill it? Would you think of Predator from 1987?
I most certainly would, and it is on my pick as well.
So we've got a joint
pick. Best pick I picked off.
Yes.
It's one of the ones I did think about putting on, but I did leave it off because I knew this one would come up because it is one of the ultimate action films of the 80s. And as I've said in the past, the 80s is my jam, and all the films from the 80s were typically better than anything that we've had now. So what made you pick Predator then?
Yeah, I think why it had to be on my list was I definitely felt like I needed an Arnold. I loved Arnold when I was a kid, but I didn't watch a ton. I don't think I had any videotapes in my own house, so it was always just at other people's. But I also do love a creature, and the Predator's one of the best designed creatures to debut, to come out of nowhere that I've sort of ever seen, I guess.
Well, if it was tracking you probably wouldn't see it as well. But I do love a creature in, like I say, any type of movie. But the Predator is one of the more interesting ones, and I think it has transcended a lot into other media as well, like especially in the comic books. I think that's where it's found its home a little bit later. But I completely agree. Predator is an amazing film, and it has, as you said, some of the best catchphrases in the films. It's just a pure cheese fest with Carl Weathers and Arnie doing their business, showing off muscles that anyone can be oiled at the same time as well.
That handshake.
Oh, wow.
Dylan.
You've also got Jesse the Body Ventura in there as well, who has some of the greatest lines in the actual film.
The former governor of Minnesota.
Yes. Now, major conspiracy theorist.
Yes, he loves the lizard people, doesn't he?
He does. I love this film so much, to the point where I was on a teen night out and I got a text message off my ex and said, Predator's on the telly, and I pardoned myself and went home to go and watch it. Because I love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, you know, who doesn't want to go see like a greased up jungle adventure like at that time of night, you know? It's winding down.
Could put that away, but I think a lot. I think with the Predator films as well, I know there's been a lot of interesting takes after this one. I didn't mind Predator 2 with Danny Glover in. I thought that was an interesting take, seeing it in a different setting. But like I say, the storyline is generally as simple as they come: getting hunted and need to survive. But I love the aspect. I love the gadgets in Predator as well, and how they used things against, like the idea of using mud to cover the heat vision, and how they brought about that, and how Arnie worked that out as well was quite cleverly done. But I remember watching this because I didn't have this on DVD, on video. I need to say DVD, VHS back in the day. It was on I think it was on Channel 4 when I first saw it. So it was one with all the video, like I say, the TV breaks. So I think I stayed up later than I should have one day and stopped up and watched it. But as I said, I was blown away when Predator came out, because there wasn't a film like it, and they have tried to replicate it so many times.
This might be a bit of a hot take, but I didn't mind the most recent one.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely didn't mind it, and I think it was more because of the design of the Predator. I actually really loved it. Mm-hmm. The story was a bit meh. The acting in it was what you would expect, but I love the design of the Predator on that one. I have 2 incarnations in the house of Predator, to the point where I have a stuffed toy.
Oh, nice. Like, I definitely hated the latest Predator. But I think...
I get that as a Predator fan. Like, I really love the first one. I do get it, but I didn't... I'm the person who liked the new Mortal Kombat, so you can take that.
I love that.
What it is.
No, I love that. I think, like, for me, it felt like it was, like, a really kind of, like, the script was, like, really sort of, like, toxic in a kind of way. Like, all the characters kind of hated each other.
And there was no union there.
Yeah, so I guess I kind of missed the camaraderie, like, the whole, like, you know, like, tight-knit group picked off one by one sort of aspect.
Yeah.
I blame Shane Black.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of controversy about that film as well, like, with, like I say, a lot of stuff that came out after the film, and the actual cut of the film wasn't what the original was intended, so like chop bits out, move things in position. There was a lot of stuff that I think I can't remember the actress's name now, but I know she played Cyclops in X-Men. She came out and absolutely slated the behaviour on set of I think it was Shane Black and a few others. So I think the studio got involved with that one, but the one I didn't mind, like I say, that one, again, when they brought out Predator dogs, that was me finished. It was like, this is shit. But but the one before that with Adrian Brody, I thought that was an interesting concept, where they put all these dangerous, like I say, assassins and military folk on an island, and said who can survive. And you've got like Topher Grace as a secret serial killer. Them like kind of elements I quite liked, but
that's the only good role for him, is like a betrayer sort of like jerk.
Yeah, or a very racist KKK higher dragony person, because he's in the Black, is it the Black King, the Black Klansman, with Denzel Washington's son. I'm sorry, I can't remember what his name is. But he's Topher Grace is in that, and he suits that part down to the ground. I generally can't remember the Adrian Brody one. I know I've seen it. I just can't remember it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Battle Royale, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was the premise of Battle Royale. But the only thing that jumps out in my mind, like the only thing that really made it very weird, was Lawrence Fishburne's character. He went all get very strange, and I didn't quite get his point. But I think what I love about the original Predator as well is because I'm sure I've read, I don't know if this is true, wasn't Jean-Claude Van Damme the original guy in the suit, but he was too short?
Yeah, wasn't it? I think it was like a lobster creature, if I remember right.
But I remember reading, because he was supposed to be like the Predator, and he was either had an attitude on set or they thought he was too short or something like that. But it was the 80s, so I think Jean-Claude Van Damme was a bit ahead of himself there.
He did, yeah. He had a lot of, he liked this cocaine and doing what he wanted.
Pretty much.
We're going into your top one, Paul, because mine was Predator as well.
Cool. So I'll go with my only pick. I'm just double checking. Yeah, my only pick that's not from the 80s. So so it gives you a taste of what's to come. So this is quite, I wouldn't say a modern film. Well, it is modern. It's had a few sequels since then, but this came out in 2014. It's, like I said, the story for this is very basic, which I think a lot of action movies is, but it's so well done and so stylized, and I just think it's, like, as a film, it's just entertaining from start to finish, even though the start is a little bit sad.
As a franchise, it's amazing because it's on my list as well.
So I've picked John Wick with Keanu Reeves.
Oh yes. It's not on mine, but yes, I've seen it.
It's on mine.
But yeah, like I said, the premise is just brilliant. Like I say, so simple, and it doesn't treat the audience like the stupid as well, because it doesn't over explain anything. It kind of hints at this world like that's like normal for them, but we wouldn't kind of go in. And I know they'll go into it a bit more in the sequels, but I like that's what I like about the first one. It kind of hints at this world of assassins and as such, and doesn't over explain it, and lets you make up your own mind as well. And again, when it tells you stuff like how he got out of the situation, it doesn't actually go into it and tell you what he had to do, just it was an impossible task. And I love the premise that it's all because these Russian dickheads took away something that he loved. So he just decided, right, he's going to bring a lot of hurt. And Keanu Reeves, I know he gets a lot of shit for his acting and his accents and stuff, because I'll still never forgive him for Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I will never forgive him for Bram Stoker's Dracula, because that was absolutely horrendous. But you are right. It seems like roles are just being made for him, because he's not really changing much. If you look at John Wick to Bill and Ted, the new one, to now you've seen the trailer for The Matrix.
He had a shave for the new Bill and Ted, so he was a completely different character. So
he's looking, but he is not different. But these films, there's no bullshit about them, like none whatsoever. What you see is what you get, and they don't. You're right, Paul. They don't treat the audience stupid. Like, you're not treat stupid. I absolutely adore this franchise, just the whole franchise. I love it, and I can't wait for the fourth one. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I still get sad at the start when they kill the little puppy dog. That is heartbreaking. I'm no good when it comes to animals and stuff anyway. But because it was
I won't watch a film that has any animal death in. I don't even know how. Nobody told me that was going to happen. Otherwise, I would never have watched it. I was heartbroken.
I think that's why I like this one as well, because it came out of nowhere. There was no big because normally when a big action film's coming out, there's big trailers and advertising campaigns. I think we got a small trailer, then it was on the cinema, and went, oh, we'll go and see what it is. And it was such a big surprise. And the elements in it, like he's the bogeyman. He's I'll try and say it in Russian, Baba Yaga. That whole premise where he's just like not the baddest person or not the most skilled person. He's just the one that's most determined.
He's hard as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He was willing to take on all these assassins because they murdered his dog.
Yep.
Like, if that's how far he's willing to go for his dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but it's determined. It's because he gets his ass kicked a lot during the film when you don't really expect. But it's the determination that he's willing to go further and through everything more. And I love the whole continental aspect as well and the rules to it. And again, going back to what I said, that don't over-explain it. Where I say, this is basically this because of that. It says these are the rules. They can't do this. And I go, okay. And you don't know who these hire people out. I know they're going to go into it a little bit. I think they're going to do a TV show as well about the Continental.
that'd be fun.
How it got started and so on. But and the cars, the fucking cars. I'm all about the American, the power cars and stuff like that. But his cars in that film is absolutely amazing. Up there with the Charger from Supernatural, shall we say?
I was just going to say, there with Dean's car. It's a Dodge Charger. Is it a Dodge Charger?
I believe so. It's called. I know it's called Baby, but
yes.
Yeah. But even the cast as well, like even the things like William Dafoe, like Ian McShane in it, and the guy who was I can't remember the guy in it now. He was just playing the mechanic, like I say, a little small role like that, but he's a big actor, but adds more to it than like say if they got someone in that wasn't part of it. But and the action scenes, if you like an action film, it's all about like the moves. And I know the director of the third one, he made it purposely, and because he wanted the audience to feel absolutely exhausted after the film.
Yeah, I totally get that. Totally felt that. We watched the second and third one straight off each other because we couldn't, literally could not wait to get into it again. And then when it finished, I was like, I just don't want to leave. Halle Berry was in the third one. You've got Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep.
Keanu and Lawrence Fishburne working together again. Their chemistry is just magic. I had to pick this one because it's a recent one for us as well. I watched the first one when it came out and then didn't bother with the other ones until a couple of months ago. And I kicked myself for waiting that long, but then again, I was just so happy then. I was like, oh, I get to be back in this world again. I love it.
Yeah, you got like a massive block like hit all at once. But yeah, like going back to what you were saying about like the, them sort of like respecting the audience, like with this kind of like hints at like little story, like the coins and everything, kind of just putting it out there. Like I think in the action scenes, the way it's shot, I think they respect the audience there as well. They're kind of just like, we're gonna go, he's never gonna stop, and like we think you're gonna come along for this ride. Like it doesn't like stop to like focus on stuff too much. Yeah, it's just like boom, boom, boom. He's over here now. Like everyone's dead.
No, I get what you mean as well, because I know a lot of like films these do. They do the quick takes, the quick cuts. I know. I loved it. I went to see. I don't know if Sam's seen it yet. Shang-Chi. The pictures. A lot of the action scenes and the fight scenes there, they do the quick cuts. So you close up, quick cut, and you don't know what's going to happen, but you pretty much see everything that's happening in these ones as well, which is like sometimes very brutal, but in a good way.
Yeah, you feel every punch, every kick, every smack to the ground. You feel it all because there's no cutting in between. You're just watching it like go like as it's happening. It's just I love it.
Yeah, like that first,
I love it.
Isn't it like in the first one is when he goes through like the dance club, isn't it, or some kind of similar place?
Oh no, I think that's the third one when he goes back. When he goes back to, because you find out he's actually Russian, because I never knew he was Russian. And Angela, is it Angela Houston? She's like his family, and he's got to go back, and then he gets disowned by them by using like I say a medal or something.
But she still respected him for it. She still had a lot of respect for him.
But I think what we've said before, he was born to play this role. I don't think anyone else could do it as well, unless it, like we say, it wasn't American, if that makes sense. Because I think it had a very Eastern feel to the film, like a John Woo style. I think, direction style. But
I definitely see where you're coming from there. I feel like I only have Face Off to reference when it comes to John Wick. So,
Lots of dubs.
So very good film. But yes, so that's my first pick, John Wick. Cool.
Well, as I've had my first and second pick taken,
Stolen.
You can go next, Jake.
Yeah, okay. So another one that is a pretty famous film and could be considered by some one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. Die Hard.
In my list.
And I'll join with this one as well because it is in my list. This is one of the ones I was debating taking out because I wanted to keep it for Christmas. But
sorry.
But I don't think you can have an action film, a top 5 action film without having Die Hard, even though Bruce Willis is meant to be a bell end in real life. But that
his albums are kind of tips are often for that, don't they?
Very true. But no, just finish it. Like I said, again, going sidetracked here. I've just finished watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and the reference to Die Hard throughout that show, it brings back me love of the film as well.
Yeah, same here, Jake's. Because we've just binged the series and then gone back and binged it again. And Jake's love for that movie just makes you want to watch it, and especially the episode where he gets to recreate it in the shopping centre.
Yeah, or he gets
for him.
They get trapped in Nakatomi Plaza as well, don't they?
Yes. But that was a genuine surprise. I didn't know that Nakatomi Plaza existed. So then when I saw that in that show, I wanted to go to there just to stand in front of Nakatomi Plaza. That's where Hans Gruber fell to his death.
Yeah. The buildings. I don't know if any of the interiors were real, but the outside definitely. Well, I suppose they had some outside scenes with the cars and stuff. So
yeah, but I think with Die Hard as well, not just a great film, but it was, in my opinion, had the greatest bad guy in Alan Rickman.
Greatest bad guy ever.
Hans Bubby.
I missed that.
I just said Hans Bubby, like the creepy guy, which I can never remember his name.
No, Alan Rickman and the Sheriff of Nottingham, they're like just on par with each other. He's just absolutely fantastic. And he's hot as hell in that film. Just going to put it out there.
He's just he always has like good line reads like Alan Rickman and kind of everything he's in, but it's just the kind of fact that it's kind of like the stereotypical like American cop guy versus like the kind of straight-laced like, professional gangster. And just like the delivery on like, now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. It's just like, it's perfect. Because you can tell he's like pissing him off.
Such an amazing impression, by the way.
But what I like as well, the change up in it as well. When Alan Rickman first meets, like I said, Bruce, can't even think of his name now. My brain's went to think. He changes his accent. John McClane, yeah, that's the one. God, I'm losing points here. But he changes his accent to an American accent to try and trick him. Yeah. But Alan Rickman, being the actor he does a flawless American accent, which like always blows us away. But
yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes is when you see him flip, because you're so used to hearing that. He's German, isn't he? Yeah, German.
I think Hans was meant to be. Was it Austrian? I don't know. Can't remember.
Possibly.
I don't want to offend anyone, so.
Well, he's British in real life, but he was playing. And then they got another British. Then they got another British actor to play his brother, playing another Eastern European.
Oh yeah, Jeremy, chewing up that scenery
massively,
as he always does, I guess.
He does. He does. If you've watched Watchmen, he does. What was I going to say? That the cast in this, man, you've got. I haven't come prepared as normal. But the guy who plays the policeman, who's his on the ground guy.
Oh yes,
Reginald Bell Johnson.
Yes, how amazing is he?
Mm-hmm. I love it, like because they have the little friendship when he's just like, stay safe, John, and stuff like that, like throughout the movie, like on the walkie-talkies, and you just feel like, oh, he really wants them to get out of this, like type of thing. They love each other.
But again, like I say, it's a simple premise. Terrorists taking over like a building, wrong place, wrong time, as with all of John McClane's exports.
You'd learn. Just go and sit in the house.
But he must be the most unluckiest bloke as well, because I wince like fuck at this film as well when he takes his shoes off and then they realise and they shoot the glass and you've seen him running and then pulling the glass out his feet in the sink. That was up there with Misery for pain threshold. I'm no good when it comes to feet and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the first time I noticed gore in a film as well, like when I watched Die Hard, because I think my parents must have thought it was a Christmas film. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching this, because they let me watch this as a kid when I was far too young to watch it, but it was absolutely brilliant.
Probably taught you some valuable lessons, about, if you're ever in a situation, get in the air vents immediately.
And I say some of the best catchphrases as well, like say, as you said, ho, 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 I've got a machine gun, or what was the other one? Welcome to the party, pal. Yes,
I love that when he chucks the guy out the window to get the cop's attention. Yes, it's such a good one. That's underrated, that line.
Yeah, because I think the most famous one, the Yippee-Ki-Yay one, just gets too much credit.
Have you ever seen the what they changed that to for like American TV broadcasts? No. Where it's like Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon or something like that. It makes no sense, but they just changed it instead of bleeping it.
Dubbed it out. I know. I like Charles's one in like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother bucket.
Yeah. Oh, Charles.
Charles is my favorite character, by the way. I am all for Charles.
I identify too much with Charles and his anxiety.
Me too. Oh. And the fact he's such a weird, like he's weird food habits. I am very weird with food, but just not as enthusiastic as him. I just have the weird side.
And I take like not to throw spoilers out there. I take you haven't watched season 8 yet.
No, right. I'm a Netflix boy for that kind of thing, so I gotta wait.
I'm watching it. I told you I was watching it when it finished, and you texted us last night to say it was finished. So I am watching it when I go home because, as you can probably tell, I am not at home in my usual surroundings. I am at my parents' house.
Just to warn you, I did cry. So there.
Oh.
Oh God, it's not going to be like Schitt's Creek, is it? I'm not going to be crying for days afterwards.
Not spoiling anything, but yeah, not that. Like I say, it was emotional. But I think as well, one of the most underrated characters in the Die Hard franchise, and he's the most annoying one in it, is the reporter guy, the William Atherton, on the plane.
Because that man has no dick.
Yeah. I don't think, other than like say William Peck on Ghostbusters, did I hate anyone as much just for trying to do their job, basically.
And do you know what though? That's why he took the role, because it was exactly the same guy from Ghostbusters. It was no different. Instead of getting a lump of marshmallow dumped on him, he got slapped in the face. It's the same character.
Like one thing I wanted to bring up is how it's kind of like, it's really like densely packed. It's kind of like a perfect movie because like there's no like wasted motion. Like you were saying about the feet thing, which they obviously like set up because he's trying to like get over his jet lag and he has to take his shoes off, and like the guy on the plane tells him to do that. So like you see everything, like all the moving parts. It's just like really like tightly knit script and everything. It's great.
No, I can't fault a single part of it. I know it's cheesy and name an action film that isn't cheesy. It's overblown. I like it when the FBI agents coming in, they're called Johnson and Johnson. For some reason,
it's like a throwaway joke.
And I was always confused as well because when I first watched it as a kid, I didn't quite understand that part. I thought the FBI were part of the bad guys, but they're just basically being arseholes doing what like the normal protocol for what the FBI were doing. When I watched it when I was a little bit older, I got that more and I enjoyed that aspect more. So it's a little bit, you realise you probably don't get when you watch it when you're a kid, the more you do. And like I say, his wife Holly is absolutely a stunner in the film. 80s power suits all the way with that perm. That's just absolutely one of me pads
for days.
Yes, one of me teenage crushes, shall we say. Cool.
So there's my first, second and third pick gone.
Yep. So
that's sorry.
so that's mine and Jake's second pick. So
so we're back
to Jake.
Okay. I can go. I think this one, it's probably going to be quite a unique one because, like you were saying, Paul, it's like I'm kind of getting out of the 80s and 90s with this one finally. It's The Raid 2, which is from 2014. Mm-hmm. It's like an Indonesian like martial arts action film. So have either of you seen it?
I've seen the first. It's not on the list. I've seen the first Raid. Like I said, I've not seen the second one.
It's the same main character. I'll try and get his name, Iko Uwais or Uwais. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, I had to see this because a lot of people have held it up as like greatest action movie of all time when it was coming out and stuff, and I never got around to watching it. Mm-hmm. But when I was like offered to come on this podcast, I was like, I've probably got to watch The Raid 2 now just to make sure. So I rented it, and yeah, like what a lot of people said is kind of it's kind of accurate. It's a lot like John Wick. I mean, story-wise, it's just your sort of classic undercover cop. Mm-hmm. Has to infiltrate. He gets like put in prison for something he didn't do, and then has to infiltrate the mob. And then he gets in lots and lots of trouble. But it's kind of like it's all practical effect stuff, apart from like the deaths. Like there's plenty of like CGI blood and broken bones and stuff. But the guy's just like legit like stuntman martial artist. Like some of the fastest punches I've ever seen, and it's like non-stop. Like there's plenty of like downtime story, but like the action, it's sometimes claustrophobic. Other times it's like a beautiful like artistic scene where like it's a one-on-one, or it's like a massive crowd of prisoners all just like ganging up on each other. Yeah. But I loved it, so I would definitely recommend that to anyone listening who wants to check out some martial arts.
No, so cool. Is that because I'm trying to think? Because The Raid 2, was that the one that was on the train, or am I completely different?
No, so like The Raid 1, it was like an apartment building, wasn't it? Yeah. Like Dread.
No, that's why. That's why I watched the first Raid, because I was told it was pretty much exactly like Dread, and I love Dread. Yeah.
So this one, it's not specifically set anywhere. It's like in a city basically. Like I said, it starts out in a prison, so you get some of your classic like prison scenes, like intimidating the new guy. They don't know he's a cop, obviously, but yeah. Also, it's kind of like it scratches that video game itch for me because it has like special boss characters that he has to beat. There's this blind girl with two like claw hammers, a guy with like a baseball bat and a baseball that he like hits people with, and then like the big boss who like shows him up early on is just like, I guess, the same fighting style, but it's like, yeah, it's total like video game as hell. Like, I just love that.
That's amazing. I'm sure I'm been begging us to watch this.
Yeah, I just rented it. I don't think it's streaming. I had to rent it, but it's definitely worth like a watch. Get some beers in and have a fun time and see some impressive stunts.
I have heard good things about it, and a lot of people's always recommend it. It's one of them things where you put on your list, but you think, well, I know with me, I've not been able to take in any new films really over the last year or so. I've been going back to the old favourites. But it is something I'm definitely going to look into now, because that does sound like if it's like watching a video game, that's I'm all in.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the action's more realistic in a way. Like everyone's like obviously the most skilled martial artist you've ever seen, which wouldn't normally happen. But and it is subtitled, so it's like in, I guess, like the native language. So like it's a bit of a, you got to pay some attention if you want to get the mob story, but it's nothing super complicated. It's just like warring mob faction type of stuff, and you're kind of there for the action. Great car chase as well, which I feel like is being missed in modern movies. Practical effect car chases.
That is a good point, because I can see a lot of the car films these days, you don't really get the feel of the old ones.
It's probably CG, which is a lot safer, but like this guy, the main character of the movie, is like jumping out on the windscreens and stuff because he's like a stuntman and martial artist. So, it's scary. It's one of those where it's like, your heart's in your throat because it looks real, and it probably was. Which
the probably would have been someone getting injured on set, but because as you said, it was with it being an Asian film. Like I say, they probably don't have the same health and safety guidelines as what we do over here or in America.
Possibly, and I think when you get martial artists who are doing their own stunts, I think there's like a pride element. It's like, no, I can jump out this window, and you're like, oh, okay.
Bless. So it's good pick. I will check that one out though. So thank you.
Will check it out. You have definitely sold me on it. that was a good pitch.
Yeah, I loved it. I had to check it out. I couldn't come on an action movie podcast without seeing it because I'd just seen too much talk about it online.
Yeah.
So that
was Jake's third.
Yep. So moving on to my third one. Third. This will probably be on your picks as well. Again, it's from 1986.
Yeah.
When I picked the first film of this, it was a bit controversial because you told us it wasn't a horror film, but I argued that it was, and I believe the sequel is the action film in the franchise. It, again, was the first one of the female leads, shall we say, in an action franchise. Sigourney Weaver. And it's Aliens.
Not in my list.
Yeah, it's not in mine, but I did watch it in the run up to this on Disney Plus, so I've had a recent viewing.
I just love the elements to this. Like, I know the colors used and the design and everything. Like you, Jake, I watched it quite recently again just because I noticed it came on Disney Plus, and I thought it was quite funny watching Aliens on Disney. I don't know, it was quite good.
Sorry to interrupt, but has it really come on Disney Plus? Because I've been trying. I sold my massive Alien box set collection.
Me too.
Watch it and completely forgot I sold it, and it's really difficult to get a hold online. So, is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Only that one, I think. Maybe?
That's okay. Is that the first one? Just the first one?
No,
just the second.
Second Aliens.
Why did you put the second one on and not the first one?
Well, Die Hard, they've got 2 and 3 on Disney Plus and not 1, because I was going to check out Die Hard, but it's not there.
No, because I think it's about licensing, because Disney Plus is, with it being Fox, they're still trying to get all the licensing back to view on different countries. Because I know Deadpool's just came on, but Deadpool 2's been on for quite a while. But I think other streaming places probably still hold the rights to the other Aliens. So this one, I think Aliens came on about a month ago. And that's why, because it flashed up on the Stars thing, we now have Aliens. I was like, oh, shit, I've got to check that out. But it's still beautiful. Like, as a film that was filmed in 1986, it still looks brand new. Like the special effects, and again, a lot of all that, well, most of it all was practical at the time. And then, like I say, the xenomorphs are absolutely terrifying. If you're thinking of a monster film as well, you'll not get better or scarier monsters than, like, say, even the little face huggers freak me out, little bastards.
Yeah, too spider-like. Like, Aliens are kind of, the xenomorph is like the sort of only movie bad guy I've had like multiple dreams about as a kid, because I just hated them. I mean, I still don't really like looking at them because they're just all like spidery and gross.
I have a big face hugger that sits in Ant's room above his it's next to his computer. It's about this big, and it's a plush toy.
Okay. Well, at least it's less spidery in plush form, but I wouldn't want that there. What if a real face hugger hid behind it?
It's in his room, not mine, so I'm fine with that.
Like I said, I can still remember because I was lucky enough to go to Florida the first time I went, and there's a ride. I think it's in Hollywood Studios or Magic Kingdom, where it's called the greatest story ever told or something. It's got a replica of the big Chinese theater where all the premieres are in LA. Yeah. And you go in and it takes you through all the movies in history. Like,
it's called the movie ride.
I thought it was called the greatest story ride, but
no, it's just the movie ride. It's not there anymore now, though, is it?
I'm not sure. If they close it down, it'll be a big mistake, because it took you through like Oz. So you saw the wizard and the Wicked Witch popped out, but you're going through the spaceship and you see the steam coming around. You're thinking it's going to pop out, and it does, but it does it so well because it pops out the ceiling, and and it comes down at you, and it's like probably like it's gnarly, and like the mouth pops out. Even though you know it's going to happen, it still freaks you out, and it's still done really, really well.
Yeah, that would be my nightmare come true.
You don't think it was like placed in the wrong bit in the ride though, because you just come out of Wizard of Oz and then smack bang right into the alien world. It's
I was all in for everything. So like I said, I was just in awe of it. But no, this one, as I said before, Alien is a horror film. It's suspenseful. It's the whole, like I say, you're waiting for these things to come out, and this one thing to come out, and this one, it is balls to the wall action from the get go. As soon as Ripley, say again, great lines, saying as the intelligence dropped since I've been asleep, when they're talking about going back to this planet, and she knows what they're going to go back for, but she still goes back because she's a nice person and she wants to help. But like even the Marines, I was laughing my head off as well, because this is meant to be in the future, and they're in the boardroom and they're all talking and discussing what they're going to do, and they're sitting there smoking tabs and stuff. And I was like, this is the 80s. This is showing you how toxic cigarettes and stuff is now, that they can't even show them in movies and stuff there. But then it's in the future, they're discussing what they're going to do with the business, and they're all having tabs, and then they're going through, like say, getting kitted out to go and attack these beasts, and they're all smoking away, having tabs in their hands and stuff. So that you can tell, like, must have been on a big nicotine craze during the 80s as well.
And the commander's never got like a cigar out of his mouth. He wakes up out of the cryo chamber, and he's just like.
But, have you watched the cigar in his mouth? It's mesmerising because he moves it around his mouth amazingly. I know it sounds really weird, but he just like. There's one bit where he's talking to Ripley, and it's on his right side, then he moves it to his left side, then he's got it on his top lip, and he's hanging on his bottom lip, and it's like, how the fuck is he doing that?
I think I noticed that. Is it where like she's talking about the power loader thing? He's like, go ahead.
But as you said before about Die Hard, there's great foreshadowing, like in Aliens, when they show you the power loads and show Ripley using it. You know at the end, that's going to be used for a good thing. And this one, they introduced us to the Aliens Queen, which was one of the most badass monsters used in cinema history, and that was a frightening fucking thing to see as well.
It gets on the elevator. It's evil. that part's horrible, because it's like, crap, like some of these things have got intelligence. So then that's another layer of like, it's kind of like Clever Girl in Jurassic Park. It's like another layer of fear. Like, this thing could like navigate its way through a structure to get me. Still, it's not an animal.
But it's still coming after you as well, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But like I say, when you look at the cast as well, it's got Michael Biehn, who's fought every single, like say, bad guy in the universe now. He's tackled the Terminator. He's tackled the Mandalorian as well in Star Wars world. And Bill Paxton, absolutely brilliant in this role as Hudson. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah, he's like, he's me. Like, if I was in that movie, it's good. They're coming out of the walls, man. Like, running immediately.
100% that will be going through my head. I'll be like, shit, I want to get out of here. I do not want to be involved in this shit. Please, let's get this sorted. But he's like,
do you know what I didn't? Sorry, I interrupted you. I was just going to say, like, what I didn't notice when I was a kid, but on this later viewing, I didn't notice how the corporate guy is just so evil, and it's obviously like a send up of like, 80s, like, Wolf of Wall Street culture.
Yeah. And
it's just like, it's still kind of scarily relevant, like if you work for a big company, which kind of sucks. But he's a great bad guy, because you just want Ripley to like blow his head off. But she doesn't, but like, she could. Justified.
Oh no, because it was Paul Radner, wasn't it? Paul, I've forgotten his name there.
Is that him from Mad About You?
Yes.
Mad About Me or something like that.
Paul Reiser out of Stranger Things as well now.
Right.
But yeah, like say he starts off saying, he actually tells you, I'm the good guy at the start.
Yeah.
Never the actual words. That's the words that come out, so you know he's going to be a fucking dick. But the whole sinister part when he locks Ripley and Newt into that in the medical bay and takes the gun from them with the facehuggers to get around getting the aliens back was so sinister and so well done. You just wanted them to hate the guy after that. But as an action film, it's got every single element that you were looking for. Like I said, the gunfire, like I said, the actual fighting, and then there's a robot fighting a giant alien at the end, which is just amazing. And I'm all about the giant robots.
Yeah.
I'm all about the giant alien. I think the alien design in this is just absolutely unreal. Mm-hmm. Who did the design again?
Oh, it was
Giga, H.R. Giga.
H.R. Giga, yeah.
Just amazing, absolutely amazing. I remember seeing one of his books in America once, and it was just page after page of all this beautiful artwork, and obviously a lot of alien in there as well. And it was so much money.
Yeah, it's very
much money.
Yeah, it's always interesting how phallic it was. It was all quite sexual organs and orientated as well.
Sexy as hell, his work, like unreal. I just wish I had like a camera phone. I would have just taken pictures of it. I'd have been happy with that. We're going to pick number 4. Jake. Yeah? Yeah?
Yep, I can go.
I feel sorry for Sam. She hasn't even got to tell us one of her picks to start with yet.
Week was not my week, and I knew that coming into it. I knew whatever I picked, someone was going to have it. I was fully prepared for this.
Cool.
Okay, so I've got a slightly, possibly more obscure quote for this one, but what movie do you think of if I said Teddy Bear?
Oh, Demolition Man.
Yes, 1993's Demolition Man, starring Sly Stallone and Wesley Snipes.
Awesome pick. Not on my list. Thank God. Thank the God.
Still trying to work out the 3 seashells.
Yes, they even showed up in Deus Ex, but that didn't explain it either.
Oh, brilliant. Like, I remember watching this again. I think I didn't get it on like VHS. I think I watched it on like ITV when it was being premiered, but completely caught us out of left field. You didn't expect it to be as good as it is. Sly Stallone, Sandra Bullock, Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes is absolutely the star of this film. Unbelievable. I think it's one of his best films, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, he's so like fun, but also like scary at the same time. It's just like a really interesting performance because like, you know, he could like kill you, but he'll also make a joke right before he does it. Does some like crazy spin kick.
But again, even with the premise of the film, it's an evil corporation in the background that's running the show, that's playing them off each other. But
it's a very 80s theme, isn't it? Evil corporation. And then
it's definitely a theme in my list as well, yeah.
It's a theme in mine too. Here's the embarrassing thing from me. I have seen it, but it was only a couple of years ago.
That's not an embarrassing. No. I know you're not very
How
great.
does it hold up, like, from a modern viewpoint? You know, like, first watch?
It was absolutely unreal. It takes you back to when you used to get flutters about films, like, because now everything's all recycled, and you always say, "Oh, they'll never make one as good as that." And that's that kind of film. I loved it. I love Sylvester Stallone anyway. I generally adore that man. So it was right. I really enjoyed it. No, that's my professional. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was just interested if it was like a nostalgia thing, because like I don't hear like a ton of. I mean, people talk about Demolition Man, but like not a ton. There isn't really many memes made out of it other than like 3 seashells. That's the thing. It's like comedy and action. It's kind of like it's got a bit of everything. And like my favorite's like the thing that like stops him, like gives him fines for swearing. That's just on the wall. And it's just like John Spotton, blah 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 blah. Like every time he says anything. Also, like, is that the most ridiculous main character name we've hit on tonight? John Spotton.
John Spotton, possibly, yeah. And Simon Phoenix for the bad guy, wasn't it? Simon Phoenix.
Yes.
And I remember Sandra Bullock's character, but as you said, the comedy aspect, I absolutely found hilarious the bit when she invites him over to have sex, and he's getting all excited and stuff like that, and they put these weird helmets on, and it's like the most bizarre little sex scene ever, and he's just like, let's get down and let's do it, and she's like, this is the most disgusting thing she's ever heard. And
yeah, just like exchange of fluids has been like outlawed. Like, well, just like, oh, well, when you say it like that.
This wasn't an 80s film though, was it? It was a 90s, I'm sure.
93, yeah.
93. I thought so because it did have an 80s vibe, but I think what you're saying as a nostalgia thing, I think the action genre at the moment is taking a bit of a hit because it's inundated with shite like, if you like it, the Fast and the Furious crap. I know.
Yeah, I've never seen it because it doesn't show up on streaming, and I might have seen 2, I guess, or 1. I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, because it went from drag racing to apparently the last one is basically went into space, so it's went full Jason.
God, Jason.
It's went to Jason X standard now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But like say, if you think about modern action films other than John Wick, you can't think of it like one that jumps in the top of your head where you can think like modern horror, modern comedy. Action film is a bit of a dying art because, as you said, CGI does play a big part of it, and I think it takes a lot of the elements out of it now. Where back in the day, the practical effects, practical explosions, does have like better impact. Like, could you imagine them trying to do the Blues Brothers now with that car pileup? They just couldn't do it.
Ridiculous. I feel Sly tried to bring action back into modern day with the Expendables. I personally really enjoyed the first 2 because I went through a Sylvester Stallone binge a few years ago, which is why I watched Demolition Man, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. I thought it felt like it had especially the first one has a nostalgia feel of 80s action films.
It had Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I was sold. I was watching it anyway there, so I was happy with that.
The cast alone just like brings you in, doesn't it? But I feel like he tried, and you're right. There's not like horror's starting to pick back up again. Obviously, I don't know if you'd class this in the action genre, but Marvel. If you type in action film, all the Marvel films are there. Yeah. So it has a little bit, but it's not what you're looking for because of what the 80s brought you. Yeah,
because I think that was the staple of the films during the 80s was these type of like buddy cops or like action films. But going back to, as you said, the pick that you picked, Demolition Man, the elements in it, the comedy aspect was done perfectly. I loved the beginning parts where like how he was convicted and their punishment then is to be frozen. And instead of sent to jail, because overpopulation in jail, they put them in, like you say, on ice, so they can try and rehabilitate and then reprogram them mentally with and it's scary to think that could that happen these days? Like, could they basically program in our minds? And
because that's what happens, isn't it? Like the program Simon Phoenix's mind with like all of the murder, death, kill and stuff. So when he comes out, he's like super powered, like he's like stronger than he was when he went in. And like I guess they didn't really rehab John Spartan because he doesn't come out different. He just comes out confused at the world.
They give him knitting. They made him.
Yes. Oh yes. He's got new hobbies. Like he doesn't know that.
So they give him knitting to keep him at the pace. But I say. I think that was one of Sandra Bullock. She's probably playing and stuff, but that was the first time Sandra Bullock got noticed, I think, in the film industry as well. But again, she was absolutely beautiful in that film. But loads of B-movie actors in it as well. Like the guy who played the police chief, I can't remember his name, but like the bald and like the round glasses. I'm sure he's been in loads of 80s films around about that time.
I know the one, kind of like the old snooty guy who hits him, and then they've got like the old cop who like remembers him from like back in the day. Like that's like that part's really good as well, how it's like you get to see the little flashback at the start. They get frozen, and then like you kind of get some like hints and like, you know, this is like John Spartan, he's this, he's that, and like it kind of like it does like a good build up for when they unfreeze him and stuff like that, and you're like
cool. No, I like that. Funny enough, I haven't talked about him for a few weeks now. I was talking to Sean about it today. I still can't get the little bastard on the podcast, but it was in his top 5, Demolition Man. So I think it is still like a popular one, especially I think with people in our age group. I don't think any of the younger generation might have seen it, so hopefully it'll give them a chance to watch it because it is one of them. It's a classic, I think. it's one of the better action films, entertaining wise. Maybe not story wise, but it is an entertaining film, and that's what you want in these type of films.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome pick.
Cool.
Awesome pick.
So,
Are we going to me now?
Yes, Sam gets to pick one.
Yay! Let me get my list. I put it away just in case.
I just gave up completely on it.
I'll go with this one because I don't know. I was toing and froing with this one, but I feel like it is because of the main star, so I went with it anyway. It's from 1991,
Mm-hmm.
and if I go dun, 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 dun. No,
The Terminator.
Terminator 2.
Ah, yes, it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were doing something different there, but that's fine. No, it is an action film. It is one of the best action films. It's not on my list because I knew someone would have picked it down the line. Just it is sci-fi and action crossed into one.
Yeah, and that's what I was worried about. And then I was like, well, look, because I was debating between this and The Sixth Day because I really love The Sixth Day.
Right.
I know it's not everyone's cup of tea.
I guess some people have to like it.
Hmm?
I don't like it. No.
I know, and I understand why, but I really like it. There's some parts I really like, but Terminator 2 is like, I don't know why, with the Terminator franchise, like the first and second one is quite big in my house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's huge. It's
like in my household, like in my family unit, like the first and second Terminator movies are quite. Like, it's a known thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like we went to Florida when I was 15 for the first time, and me and my sister had never seen the Terminator films. And at that point, thank God there was only two, because I do not want to.
There is. Let's just stop there. There is only two. There is nothing that happened afterwards.
Thank you. Yep.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. We're in agreement, there's only two. But we hadn't seen either of them. And we went and did the Terminator ride. And then obviously, like, Paul, you've been on the Terminator ride. It's
for 3D,
it's old,
it brings something special, yeah.
But it's fantastic. It's brilliant. And then we went into a video store and we bought, because it's VHS times, we bought the first one. And through that whole holiday, me and my sister just kept going, Sarah Connor, yes. And that was all we did the whole holiday. Then we watched the second one. Obviously a Scream reference in there, but yeah, we watched the second one, and it's my sister, one of my sister's favorite films. She gets the piss taken out of her because we call her the Terminator.
Right. Okay. Oh well. So should I call her that next week, or would I get punched?
You might do. She might hurt you, because we always say, we're going to deprogram you now. Do you need to switch off for the night and stuff like that? And if I ever get any merchandise, like I once got the chip, the chip at the end. I can't think of the chip.
Yeah, like the side to dine or whatever.
Yeah. Yes, I heard that, and it was in the form of a key ring. So she got that. But I love the second one. Because more than the first one, I think the first one's gritty, and it's probably a bit too gritty for me. But I think the second one is great. I love is it Edward Furlong? Edward
Furlong, yeah.
Yeah, I loved him as John Connor. Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor. I mean, come on, she's just going from the first one to the second one is such a difference, but you can understand where it came from. Yeah, and I just think she is badass as fuck in that film. Like, I just want to be her so badly. Yeah.
I think when I got older and I watched them, the transformation from Sarah to what she becomes in T2 was a little bit extreme for my taste. Like, I do love the films. I'm a purist. I do love the first one more than T2. I know not many people do like that, but I think it's, as you said, it's more gritty. It's more raw. It's more scary, I think, as well. It's that element because it's more man versus machine, where T2 it is machine versus machine, and I know they wanted desperately to make Arnie a good guy to make it more sellable, But
that didn't even cross my mind, you know.
Well, I was going to bring that up, but like there was like a lot of like Terminator toys when I was a kid, like in supermarkets and stuff.
Yeah.
And it kind of happened with all of the movies we've talked about in some fashion. They got like a cartoon show or something. Like it was kind of weird, but yeah, like I think I've heard people say that before, that they like the first one because it's kind of like a horror film in a way. I think if I remember right, is the climax to the first one where he's kind of like chasing them through like the foundry, and like they cut him in half, and like the top half still keeps going, and it's just like, you can't stop this guy. Like, it is terrifying in that moment.
Yeah, because Kyle Reese, the ultimate badass, who goes back in time to gets sent back in time from his best friend to shag his mother to recreate his best friend.
You love a time travel story, don't you?
Yeah. And again, Bill Paxton is in this as well. Well, he's in the first one. He's one of the motorcycle crew, isn't he? Is it the first one or the second one where he steals these?
I think that's 2, isn't it?
I think it's 2 because Kyle Reese plays got a name now, but my brain's
Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn plays is in T1. He's like I say, the main good guy, shall we say? But I think the action scenes in T2 are better. Like that, the motorbike and the lorry scene is the most iconic scene ever, especially when Arnie's got that shotgun. Like even when I was riding my bike, I used to have a stick, and I used to try and swing it around and pretend to blow things backwards to recreate the scene. It just, like I say, when you see that for the first time, it's unbelievable. I think I know CGI was used before this, because I think the first one that they used it big on was the Abyss, but then they used the same type of effects for, like say, the liquid metal, and it's the first time you saw anything like that. And again, the scene that blew me away, that completely I couldn't believe because it looked so realistic. It looks a bit dated now. Is the one where the Terminator is blended into the floor, and it's like the checkered floor, and he comes out of that and he kills the twin. Like I say, he was getting a cup of coffee. But yeah, that's always stood out, and like I say, I hadn't seen anything like that before. But I remember the Empire Cinema, because I know the age ratings, I think when it first came out was a 15, but they were letting people younger than 15 get in and see this film because they thought it was such a good film. And they went, it's down to the parents' permission, but it was the first time that a cinema that I'd known had allowed the people to do that.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a grey area on film ages, a little bit. Because I think I remember getting in to see Austin Powers 2, which I think might have been a 12, and I think I was 10.
Oh no! Think about that 2-year gap.
Put a little shirt on, button-up shirt to look a bit older. See The Spy Who Shagged Me. It was all very appropriate, I'm sure.
That's a film that hasn't aged well, so sure.
No,
it does have a Demolition Man reference in the first Austin Powers, though. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, true.
With the liquid goo phase.
We've totally forgotten to talk about Robert Patrick. It's T-1000.
Yeah.
Like, I am terrified of him because of this, and that then transcends into everything he does. Because I cannot look at his face and not be ever so slightly, oh, that's a bit scary. And also another
that
reference.
Knight's going to shoot out of him at any moment.
Another reference me and my sister do is the one from Wayne's World where he pulls Wayne over and he goes, "Have you seen this boy?"
But I do feel a bit sorry for him because that film made his career but also ended his career, because he didn't really do much after that. Like big, I think he did have a bit part in The Sopranos, but
the Faculty? You did The Faculty?
Yeah, but again, that's not a huge part where like he's went on to bigger and better things type thing. Because he's made such a name for himself in this just one film. Like, how iconic is that? Like, one film, and he is known throughout the world for that. Like, I find that iconic. No, I don't think it's a bad thing, but if a guy, like say, he's clearly got some talent behind him, and say as an acting person, but it just didn't go any further than like that to make a big impact. Because you wouldn't think, when you think of big names, it's like the big stars, Linda Hamilton, Arnie, Edward Furlong to a degree, but
to a degree because
of his troubles.
His career went down the shitter, didn't it?
Yeah, but his own personal demons, bless him. But I don't think Hollywood helped him too much there. But...
No, I don't. You're absolutely right, and he should never have been allowed to do The Crow at all, ever. Whoever said that was a good idea, no, it was not. Cool. I'm so glad I've not watched it.
So was that your third or fourth pick there?
I can't remember now, mate. I'm like lost because you've all stole me picks. I think it was me fourth because I only have one left.
Right, so that's fine.
We're up to 4.
So I'm just going to turn the light on before I do my next pick because I'm going to get a bit pitch black.
You are going dark.
So bear with me.
Nobody can see that glorious creature from the Black Lagoon t-shirt. Oh my god, he's got his jumper bottoms on too.
I cut away, I didn't see it.
And now we have light.
And nice drama bottoms, by the way.
Yeah, that's how all I wear these days. Even working from home, that's all I'm wearing, drama bottoms.
Drama bottoms. Yep.
So,
one thing we didn't hit on T2, I just want to give a quick shout out to Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
It's the only Guns N' Roses song I have on my playlist because I just only one I like.
Yeah. That definitely made the vibe of the movie for little kids in the 80s.
I think a lot of the films, like action films, potentially did have good rocking soundtracks to it. I don't remember a film where, like I say, an action film where I haven't enjoyed the soundtrack to. I know John Wick was a very different type of soundtrack, but it was more... it had like a bit of Marilyn Manson in there as well. So... But yes, like I say, Guns N' Roses, like I say, that you could be. I'm not going to sing this time because I can't do Axl Rose well there. But yes,
I love the way he says "way out of line." Great song.
Yeah, Arnie's in the video, which was probably another like landmark sort of thing for music videos at the time. Like him just. They're a waste of ammo, and maybe he was right.
but to be fair, that's what we're missing these days as well with movies, big movie soundtracks or like songs that go compiled. Like I remember, actually, I know the film wasn't great, but the Smashing Pumpkins doing a song for the Batman Forever film, and it was absolutely brilliant.
I was just about to mention Batman Forever because for some reason, doesn't it like. The opening credits start with like Seal, Kiss from a Rose.
Yes, Kiss from a Rose, yeah.
Which is, possibly one of the greatest songs in the entire world, but it didn't really fit the Batman Forever vibe, I didn't think.
No, a lot of them, no. I used to like
watch a nice sing-along though.
But I used to like watching the music videos because you used to see clips of the film and before the film came out, so you can get like bits of things, especially with a big.
You don't get that anymore, do you? You don't get a music video that is associated with the film and actually has either the person or parts of it in there. But going to Batman Forever, I only watched it like last year.
Sorry, let's hope Ghostbusters Afterlife brings that back. I can do with Ray Parker Jr. bringing us back to life there. So
yeah, Buster makes him feel good.
Yes.
That man has rode that song for 30 odd years. Good for him.
Yes. So my next pick has probably the most iconic line in any action film, and just by uttering it, you will know I'm too old for this shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's not on my list.
It's not on mine. I mean, introduce it though, but yeah.
No, it's fine. So 1989. Danny Glover, Mel Gibson, Lethal Weapon. This has one of the best fight scenes in any movie history. Him versus, and I've got his name now. Is it? Because he went a bit nuts, didn't he?
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, that one. As Joshua, Mr. Joshua, fighting in the rain in front of Riggs's house, not Riggs's, Murtaugh's house. Sorry, was absolutely movie gold for my liking. Like I say, especially like in the action film, you just, especially when you're getting all the cops going around and like people to stand there and say no one getting involved. But as an iconic fight, I don't think there's many films that done it better.
I only watched it a couple of years ago because me and Carolyn got into massive arguments over this.
Right.
I've never seen it. Huge fights, and we watched it at hers once, and I generally can't remember it. Like,
you can't remember it.
I'm in a similar boat where it just wasn't. It wasn't one of the film series we had any videotapes of as kids, and that was kind of the only way I got to see like R-rated movies back then. If my auntie had them or something like that.
I think have the man in the van.
We've talked about the man in the van who used to come.
Do you not have the man in the van, Jake?
Me nana worked in a call center, so there was always someone selling like dodgy anything. But that was like more like Christmas and birthdays. You'd get like, oh, here's like the top 10 CDs, or like loads of DVDs or stuff.
I absolutely love this franchise. Even like I say, I love Lethal Weapon 4, which doesn't get too highly credited. But I probably watched Lethal Weapon 3 before I watched any of the others. Because this was a very, as you said, an R-rated. They were very violent. They were very graphic. They were like very 80s, shall we say? It was all about the drugs, sex, and rock and roll back then.
I think I remember there being a naked woman almost immediately in Lethal Weapon, but that probably says more about me than my memory.
Teenagers. Yeah, it was it started off with a naked woman jumping off a building and getting crashed into a car.
Wow.
With very perky boobs. But yes, I still remember that. But like the whole idea, again, it's corporations, people getting involved, taking over, beating the man. But having Danny, like I say, pairing Mel Gibson and Danny Glover together, Mel Gibson as the loose cannon was absolutely brilliant. I know he just came off, I think it was Mad Max. These films, which again is another great action film which didn't make my lists. I wasn't that over infused with the Mad Max films. I did love the Thunderdome one, even though most people don't.
That was on my honourable mention as well. Was going to be Mad Max Fury Road because that's like pretty good.
No.
Sam doesn't like Tom Hardy. That's
okay. I mean, he's not the standout. It's like actually it's everyone else. So I can agree with you on that one.
It just makes no goddamn sense. Like it doesn't. It has very pretty colours, and for all it is the apocalypse, it's really clean.
Well, there's a black and white version of it there as well. You can actually see they brought out a black and white version of Fury Road. Don't know why, but they did.
You can just put it in the sea, Paul, because that's where it belongs.
I'm glad I didn't put it on the list now.
Get up and walked out. You just stayed with the dogs for an hour.
But no, like I say, with the Mel Gibson role, he played, like I say, a proper man on the edge, lost everything, didn't give a fuck anymore. And
it sounds like Mel Gibson in real life.
Pretty much, I don't think it was too far from the truth. Being honest with you, I think that's why I might have done. And seeing him getting pushed and like almost wanting to end it all, was quite harrowing. But Danny Glover again is absolutely brilliant as a downtrodden detective who's just wanting like a few days away from retirement. But the typical bullshit. But them pairing together just made like the movie and all the action elements, like even the bad guys, like as I said, Gary Busey as Mr. Josh, who was quite sinister. And again, it's about drugs and corruption, all about the 80s. And even the sequels afterwards, like some of the best lines in any films comes for the sequels as well, like Lethal Weapon 2. Mainly, again, Sean quoted for each other as well, going, "I've got diplomatic immunity." It's just hilarious.
Immunity.
Yes. But
most evil superpower.
Exactly. But as a balls to the wall action film, I don't think you could have a list without mentioning Lethal Weapon. And even the TV show that they brought out, like I say, it did have a short run. I think it only ran for 3 seasons. Was done really well. Was a big surprise to me. I know there was problems in season 2 with the main actor going a bit crazy and actually trying to hurt members of staff on stage, on set.
Wow. Is Mel Gibson just like his spirit just running through this franchise?
Yeah. You listen to that voicemail and it kind of took over.
Yeah.
Potentially, but if you haven't watched the TV show, I would highly recommend it, just simply because the way it's done, and again, it embodies the relationship between the two people, like say from the two different areas and aspects, and it's just, like I say, a shit good film. That's the best way I can describe it. Yes.
I mean, the more you've talked about it, the more like memories have been jogged, and I've probably only seen it like a handful of times, like one. And I remember renting 3 for some reason, and I think like, is that the one where there's like a guy in like a homemade suit of armor that they have to defeat?
Yes, yeah. And that was like Joe Pesci comes into it as well as
yes.
I think Getz, I can't remember his first name, something Getz, where he plays a shyster, like one of these lawyers that chases after people to get, then he becomes a private eye. But that's the one, Lethal Weapon 3, when he's got someone in a suit. Or was that 4? I might be the 4th. This, I'm not sure.
It could be.
Because
it was just a random, it was like a can't find anything else at the corner shop, gotta rent something type of thing. I think I got that in Ace Ventura too.
But no, I think I might be in 4 because that was the one with Jet Li in, because that was the bit where actual Riggs says, I'm getting too old for this shit, rather than Murtaugh. So
right, okay.
A little bit of passing again, and like other actors come in, like she was in Thor. She played Thor's mum. What's she called?
What's her name? Russo.
Yeah, Russo. She plays Riggs's love interest and gives him a bit of purpose in life again. Which again,
Rene Russo. Is that
Rene Russo? That's the one. Yeah, but like I say, as a franchise, I couldn't have a top 5 without talking about the Lethal Weapons. So that's my pick there.
I do have to say, when I told one of my friends, Laura, who's just joined the group recently, I think she was in your latest post. She was like, you better have Lethal Weapon on your list. And I was like, I was never a Lethal Weapon kid. I'm sorry.
That's why we like doing these type of things. It's interesting to see other people's perspectives. I know sometimes they are quite similar because in the age groups and stuff, but something might mean more to you than it does to me, but you can tell me why it means more to you, and that's when I start getting enjoyed and think, oh yeah, that might get that feels for it again. So
I think you describing Lethal Weapon and how it's kind of got some more like depth in the characters is like, I would get that now. I probably wouldn't have as a kid. So I think if I watched it now, I'd enjoy it more.
Yeah, like as a kid, it was like boobs, guns, cars, explosions, yay. But now I'm all about the relationships between, like, say, the actors and stuff, and you can actually feel that there. So that was my 4th pick. So we are going to move on to our last pick. Cool.
Ready for our last pick, starting with Jay?
Yes.
Certainly am. And I did save my favourite for last because I felt like it. It is 1988's Robocop.
I was hoping someone would pick it.
Did you say Robocop?
Yes.
Robocop.
Yes. For the love of fucking God. It was
Pop machine, all cop.
It was 1987. What year did you say?
I thought it was 88.
No, 87, 1987.
Was that the UK release? Because it might have been a year after the United States.
Potentially.
Got it back there, Jake, don't worry.
No, it's fine. All I know is I'm about as old as Robocop. But
I was hoping you were going to do the Dead or Alive, You're Coming With Me.
Yeah, I debated it, and then I was also thinking, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, it's my final pick too.
Okay, well that's cool though. That's cool.
It is one of the most quotable films as well. Can you fly, Bobby? Can you fly?
Okay, for anyone who hasn't seen Robocop, it is a kind of like half sci-fi future story, which again is anti-corporation or anti-police force.
I was just going to say that. Massive corporation taking over.
Yeah. But yeah, it follows our hero who gets in a bad way and gets turned into a robotic policeman without his consent, I guess. Well, he's probably signed his life away, but then he has to go on and take down Kirkwood Smith and a bunch of people you probably saw in Twin Peaks after, later on.
You did.
Yeah. this one probably is wanted. After I watched it when I was older, made me wanted to be a body donor, like a body donor. So it made me want to like donor my parts just in case this could happen. I know it's very unlikely, but I wanted to be Robocop. It sounded fun.
I mean, I think like, sorry, I was just gonna say like, I think like sort of 80s and 90s TV shows and movies, it made me want to be a mutant as well, because it's like, you know, everyone was getting green ooze and getting like superpowers, and I'm like, yeah, sign me up. Ooze trials.
Very much so. Again, this is a recent one for me. Not as recent as it's probably the last 10 years. God, not even that. Probably the last 5. I remember watching it in my old flat, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Like, once it finished, I played it again to watch it again.
It's definitely got a charm. It's got its own charm. I know they've tried to recapture that when they remaked it, but they made it a little bit too soft. With Robocop, it was very, as you said, 80s, very hard, very brutal, and very adult at times. I know, like with the sequels and stuff, they went into different depths, like segregation and drug abuse and stuff, which was quite interesting. But with the Robocop, the first one, it was quite pure. It was like these assholes fucking up a city to the point where get this person in, think, right, we can make a difference. And even like when he's starting out, like when the gun comes out, is very Western, very old school as well. It's just very cool aspects.
Very TJ Laser, if you take the film literally. That TV show's kid likes.
But going back to one of your previous picks as well, because I think this one's quite similar to Demolition Man as well in feel.
It's like satire, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know if the production might have been behind the same type of film, because it even looks kind of like the same thing. I know it's futuristic, but it's very clunky, like I say, mechanical as well.
The dirty, like, future, kind of like Alien as well. I meant to say that, but yeah, like how everything's kind of like dirty and steam coming out of it and stuff like that, even though it's high tech.
Yeah. We've not moved on to like solar power or anything. It's still on steam power and stuff like that. But I like the whole perspective when they reprogram and stuff, and you see it from his perspective, and you see everything coming out from the visor and stuff. Everything was done. I know it sounds really stupid, but so cool in a way.
Yeah, like cool, like proper metal cool. Like, it was awesome. The main guy, Peter Weller. I have to keep checking his name because I don't want to call him Paul Weller.
I've been doing that this week, thinking about it.
I'm like, I really don't want to call him Paul Weller, so I have to keep checking Peter Weller, who, by the way, is 74. Like, that makes me feel old, thinking like how young he looks in Robocop, but obviously, yes, he would be, because it was the 80s.
He showed up in Dexter as well, didn't he? That's the only other thing I've seen.
Yeah, I was going to say he was brilliant in Dexter, but as soon as you realised his face and you thought, shit, Dexter's going to get fucked over by Robocop here.
Robert.
That's a crossover we needed.
He's also Batman as well.
All right.
He's Batman in The Dark Knight, the animated film.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He does have a good voice. Yeah.
He has an amazing voice. He definitely has a good voice.
Do you think he got cast for Robocop for his voice, though?
Because might have been his nice lips.
Yeah. Hey.
He does have nice big lips. I get that.
I nearly went all Johnny Five on you. That's such short circuit. Hey, laser lips.
I did always wonder that when I was a kid, though. I was like, why don't the bad guys shoot him in the mouth? Which isn't a nice thing. But there might have still been metal behind there.
Yeah. Well, it is a good point. Like, say, would you not, if you're getting fucked over by a machine, that he wasn't exactly quick as well. It was like, you think you could take aim? He's not going to matrix out the way or anything like that.
Yeah. No, that you on the sort of like movement thing though is like walk when he turns around corners is just like it's just so interesting to look at. It probably like catches your attention.
I have seen one of the best cosplayers done of Robocop, and it was all made out of cardboard. Every bit was just cardboarded together, and it was fantastic. And it was a woman inside of it as well. and it was so cool. It's she goes by her real name now, Danica, but her YouTube name was Comic Book Girl 19.
All right.
She's she's partly the reason why I am who I am today, because she was on the internet being me, and I was like, oh! And she did this amazing cardboard, like 3D effect, Robocop. She also did what was it from Alien? You were talking about it earlier.
Oh,
the
the loader type thing.
The loader. Yeah. She also made that as well, and walked around San Diego Comic-Con all day just in this loader as Ripley. It was absolutely amazing.
Funny you say that. One of our admins, Mark Little, he is renowned for his cardboard cosplay.
Really?
He does some brilliant cardboard cosplay. If you send him a message or ask him on the post to show off his cosplay, he's done like Bender and stuff like that from Futurama.
Wow.
He is the cardboard king of cosplay.
I absolutely love people's creativity in like any form, and that is just so fascinating. But going back to Robocop and how awesome it is, I can't remember what the big machine is at the end, the big one.
Ed 209.
That's it. Thank you. I was doing my head in that.
Scariest stop motion thing in my childhood.
Yes. And Miguel Ferreira is the bad guy, like bad corporate guy. He's dead.
Like Dick Jones, you mean?
Yeah, Dick Jones was the name of him. But so Sam's
with Dick Jones.
But that was one of the figures I didn't have, and I had Robocop, but I never had the Ed 209 because you got to know it was quite a big one as well. And that was one of the figures from my childhood I never got my hands on, so I might look into it now I'm a little bit older, see if I can get my hands on it.
Yeah, but I think we're talking before about Terminator becoming like toyetic, as they say on the toys that made us. Robocop was like incredibly toyetic because he had obviously the suit. You could be like, oh, it's battle damage Robocop. His helmet comes off. He had like a cool car as well because they had like future they kind of look like demolition derby cars. And like Ed 209 and definitely. And he had a jetpack in 3, I think. So they were just adding toys to him basically.
Definitely.
That was the 80s though. Like, look at He-Man was like weren't they toys before they were cartoons? Like,
they brought out the toys. Then they introduced a comic book to sell the toys, and then they thought, we need a cartoon. So before they actually released the toys, they had all it. It was there just as a marketing campaign to make money, basically. Yeah,
I think George Lucas really set people up when it comes to movies of RoboCop and Terminator. That there's a toy franchise there with the two. It's not just a movie franchise, there's a toy franchise behind it.
I remember, I think for Terminator 2 especially, there was a kit I had. It was like a model kit where you had the exo frame for Terminator and you put them in a mold with plasticine, but it was a pink plasticine, and it put the skin on the Terminator. And then when you hit it, the skin come off and it showed the extra fine, but it was done in Play-Doh. I remember having that as a kid. If I find it, I'll send you as a picture. It was absolutely amazing. I remember having that as a kid.
That's such a good idea.
I couldn't think of anything worse. I hate the feel of Play-Doh. It goes through us.
You don't have to feel it. It's like, like Leonardo gets him with the samurai sword, and it's like
just put it with a stick. Just keep prodding it.
That's true. Didn't think of that one. So, there's our pick. There's mine and Jake's final pick. We just had the same list, bar one.
So not too.
We would have a good movie night.
So this one turns out, again, I've left it to me last one because it is one of my favourite films of all time. It only got added to the top 5 not too long before doing this podcast, because my wonderful wife, Nicole, pointed out why have I not got this in, because it is an action film. I'll be honest, I had Speed in originally. Speed was in my top 5.
why did I think that?
So, but I did leave that off for this. And again, this has got one of the most iconic sounds. I'll not try and do it because I'll make a tit of myself.
No, do it. Go on.
It was done in 1981.
Mm-hmm.
And it was dun 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 dun. So yes.
Yay!
So originally we had Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones, but thankfully we got Harrison Ford. But this one, Raiders of the Lost Ark, was my favourite film, even though it got spoilt by The Big Bang Theory, who pointed out if Indiana Jones didn't do anything in this film, the film plot would play out exactly the way it had, just a lot quicker.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It was Amy Fowler who pointed that out. I saw that clip today because at the moment I'm obsessed with TikTok videos. I just sit and scroll, and that clip came up of Amy, and I was good when you started singing it there. I was going to mention that to you because Raiders of the Lost Ark is not my favorite. I only like what's the third one called?
Last Crusade.
Last Crusade. It's the only one I like of the Indiana Jones franchise. So I was going to ask you if that was true.
It is actually when
is it like that he kind of just delays the events kind of slightly?
Yeah, because to be fair, if he didn't get involved with Marion at the bar, the Germans would have got the necklace. They would have found the Ark quicker. They would have opened the Ark and been melted and killed.
So it's the same thing would have happened regardless.
Yep, just Indy made it more interesting.
Yeah. He's just he's like nosy, just like gets in people's business.
Yeah.
That belongs in a museum.
But this film, even before Star Wars, introduced me as Harrison Ford as a main actor, and I think absolutely brilliant in this film. There's aspects in this film that just are so funny and entertaining. I love the ad-lib bit, which is the most famous scene in it, where they're in the desert and Harrison Ford famously had the shits, and there was supposed to be this really long drawn-out fight scene with this really martial artist who was doing all these ninja scenes, and to get the toilet quickly to end the scene, Harrison Ford pulled out the gun, shot a blank, then ran off to go to the toilet, and they left it in the scene because it looked amazing and suited it perfectly.
That is iconic. I had no idea that was improv, though.
No, it was completely improv. It was supposed to be this long, drawn-out fight scene that was supposed to last probably 5 to 10 minutes.
I knew it was improvised. I just didn't know that was the reason why it was improvised.
No, because if you look at him, I know it's hot, but he's sweaty as fuck, and he's just looking to get off set because he was going to shit himself.
Awesome.
Play the blank as a distraction.
Yeah. So he just pulled out his gun, fired it, and then luckily the guy reacted. Otherwise, it would have been a bit like say. But no, it was complete
first as well.
Yeah, which he did in Star Wars. Again, I'll always fight that. But again, Karen Allen in it as Marion, as the love interest, was always well done. Always fit Indiana Jones really well. John Rhys Davies of Lord of the Rings fame, again, first time being introduced to him, absolutely brilliant. Alfred Moyer, who our Doc Ock was in it at the start, and the whole iconic scene opening bit where he's getting the tomb and getting the idol off the thing, and he's weighing up the sand, and then you get the big bowling ball that looked fake as fuck, but again, who cared, and chasing it through. And who doesn't like to see Nazis getting the faces burnt and melted away? Exactly.
We love to see it.
Need more of that in films these days. But again, I'm not a big fan of the Crystal Skull. I know they're doing a new one which have just been filming in Bamborough, but not too far from us, which is quite interesting. But the original trilogy, I know a lot of people like. Was it Temple of Doom as the favourites because that's normally the first film to see. But again, I don't really enjoy it as much. It's more scary for me.
I've heard the conversation change on Temple of Doom. I feel like people now say oh, it's pretty boring actually. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you. The first one's probably the best. I don't think I've saw The Last Crusade as many times either. Yeah. So I think that one's it's not one of my childhood favourites, but it's fine. It's good. I like the ending and stuff, the end sort of puzzle and things like that.
Yeah. I think with Last Crusade, it's the more entertaining one. like I say, with the comedy value, having Sean Connery and for Harrison to bounce off, that aspect it was key. But to me, the original one, seeing that, and again, it started off a craze of films like that went along there. Like I say, we got Michael Douglas in The Jewel of the Nile from this type of aspect of a film. And again, it probably would have been a completely different film if we had the amazing mustache that is Tom Selleck. But Harrison Ford.
I can't really picture that for Indy, because like Indy's kind of like sort of, he's like more action oriented, and I feel like Selleck's a bit like passive.
It's laid back and smooth and stuff like that. But again, going back, I know I might be sounding like I'm like showing off saying going back to Florida, saying that going to Indiana like movie experience there, where they show you how they're done, like the stunts live, is even more impressive.
It's such a fun show. It's so fun. But the guy,
I think it was Waterworld when I was in like Disney and like
the Universal 90s. Studios. It's still there.
yeah.
It's so fun. But the big German guy is Bomber from Alvida Pet.
Right.
Who is like, and he's an actor himself, but he was also kind of like a stunt guy, and he's the big bald-headed guy. That's Bomber. I love it. I think it's Pat Boom or something like that. He was a wrestler. So when you watch an Alvida Pet and it shows you footage of him in the ring, that's real. That's like his real wrestling day footage. I know far too more about Alvida Pet than I should.
But I know far too much about wrestling, so it's fine.
No, it's fine. But what I wanted to say about as well, I'm a big lover of practical effects when it comes to movies, and I think a lot of the action films back then had a lot of more practical effects done better than what we're seeing these days. And if you think about it, with these type of films, like especially the Indiana Jones ones, there was, especially the old ones, no CGI. It was all done practically. I know one of the famous mistakes in the film, which is quite good. And I think they got it out of the 4K and the Blu-ray version, but if you got the DVD or video, you can still see it. When Indy falls into the pit with the snakes, he looks at the snake and there's a glass and you can see his reflection.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah. I have seen that. It's like you wouldn't notice it in like the quick moment it is, but once it's pointed out to you, like, isn't it because he's like, is he like real life terrified of snakes?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, he didn't want to do the scene at all. He was asking for any other thing other than snakes. But
even that line improvised as well, where he says snakes. It could have been anything, but it was snakes or something along those lines. I'm sure that line was improvised. Possibly,
I wouldn't put it past anything like that. But again, as an action film, it probably doesn't jump out, because it didn't jump out because it's more of an adventure film, if that makes sense. But it is an action film, I would say, one of the greatest ones. So yeah, that's my last pick, and one of my favorite films of all time. Like I say, I'm always going to be a big Indy fan. I'll always go back to Indy. I love watching it, especially it was one of the ones I got the projector out and watched again, and it still lives up to the expectation.
That's so cool that you can do that. Like you can experience these movies on a larger screen. Like, I've never seen Jurassic Park on the big screen before. It's like my dream just to see Jurassic Park on the big screen.
I think I did get to see that like in I saw it when I was a kid in Sunderland, and then I'm pretty sure like they did it again sort of in like the 2010s.
Yeah, they brought it out in 3D, so there was a 3D version on the cinema.
I will not do 3D. I'll end up being sick.
Yeah, that was probably what I saw. I don't like 3D either, but I think just to see Jurassic Park, it was like worth a shot.
Well, I mentioned this on our Jurassic Park episode. Me and Carolyn were trying to get tickets for The Sage because they were showing the movie with the orchestra playing in a live orchestra, and then could we get tickets for it? It would have been like not only to see it on the big screen, but have a full live orchestra playing you the soundtrack through the oh, come on, man.
Oh,
but yeah, I am going to live out one of my dreams.
Could be an idea, like I said, just thinking out loud here. Again, like I said, not for all the listeners, but if like I say, if you know anyone that's got a big back garden, like I say, and get the screen out, and like I say, you can actually put it in the back garden, like, especially when it's getting darker nights now. It could be an option.
Yeah. That would be a cool idea. I am just
yeah,
so excited.
Really stretch that FBI warning to like for not to show up things to like
so that
too many
everyone
people.
can see it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh wow! But that's, like I said, my last pick. The only other one that did, like I said, I mentioned before, was Speed. That was going to be in it, and the other one that did come out and go back in and come out and left last 5 minutes. I swapped it for John Wick. Actually, was the Matrix.
Oh,
Yes, I watched that.
Matrix.
I watched that the other night, and I was thinking about it, but I was kind of like, it's definitely super influential, but it kind of, some bits look a bit goofy now, probably just because it was like early CGI.
Yeah. The bit that takes me out of it completely, makes it from a perfect film to just being a good film, is Superman at the end when he flies off. I'm just like,
yeah, like Rage Against the Machines playing.
That element kind of just went, right, fuck you. But that's my only gripe with that film, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, I watched it recently just because obviously the trailer for 4 came out and they're all on like Amazon. So I was like, it definitely crossed my mind because like there's some cool action with like Hugo Weaving. I don't know if he was actually doing some of the stunt work or what, but his character's like got some cool fights, and it's kind of cool how it's like a guy in a suit fighting, and it's like, but he looks brutal as fuck. It's it's amazing.
Like I say, there's some amazing scenes, like Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus when he's on that chair, and then he jumps out the window to the helicopter. Like I say, that whole element, like I say, blew me away. It just seemed so powerful back at the time, but. I know there's an uncut version of The Matrix as well, which the only thing they cut out was a headbutt. Apparently, to stop it from getting like a high rating, they had to cut out a headbutt that Keanu Reeves did.
Yeah, it's unreal what you've got to censor in Hollywood sometimes just to get your movie out and what. So a headbutt could do it.
Yeah, can I just ask, like, did everyone end up with a copy of The Matrix because it just came with like a DVD player or something? Because I definitely did.
Yes, that in Toy Story.
Okay, I think I got like Terminator 1 with the PlayStation 2 as well, but yeah, like very early DVD days.
I didn't get free shit like that, bastards.
And it had like my Matrix had one, when you would like snap the little plastic.
Yes, I've still got it upstairs because it's my mum's copy. We've still got it upstairs. It's the snap thingy. My
cardboard on the front. Yeah.
The only dodgy one I had was Stephen King's It. That was on double-sided DVD, so you had to play one side and turn it over to watch the second part.
Oh God, yes.
My copy of The Exorcist has an A and a B side. It's not even that long of a film.
Oh.
Please turn the page.
It does actually come up. It says, "Please flip the disc." Yeah,
please flip to side B.
Yeah. I remember that.
Continue your nightmare.
So yes, so that's our top 5 action films. Like I say, I think it went like I enjoyed that. Yes.
I really enjoyed that. I really, really enjoyed that. And also, Jake, I really want to get you back on to talk about wrestling. Like,
oh yes, I was gonna sort of selfishly say, like, if there's ever like a nerd talk Mortal Kombat, like I'm definitely your guy. But yes, I could probably talk wrestling for hours and hours. But yeah, like it's been so much fun, and I'm sorry about the tech issues at the start.
No, it's fine. We got there in the end. Like I say, we're not without tech issues, but no, it's been, like I say, one of the fun ones. So thank you for coming on.
I really enjoyed that. That was so much fun.
Hope you enjoyed. And just to give a shout out as well, like I say, thank you for everything you do on the Facebook group as well. It is appreciated. I know you do start a lot of topics and keep the conversations going as well, which means the world to me. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, thank you. Like, thank you guys as well, because like it's really hard to run like a non-toxic community when you're getting up past like the thousands. Like you're over 3,000 now, right?
Yeah, that's scary.
So definitely well done on keeping like some kind of control over that, because I've seen it go bad in the past, like and had to leave groups, and this one's going good. And I'm sorry I always talk shit about Hawkeye every chance I get, because I just really don't like Jeremy Renner.
I think you upset Donna the other day, but that's about it.
I'm sorry.
I really appreciate.
I would just like his character to die.
Yeah.
Maybe he will, because Kate Bishop's so much better than him.
Yes, I agree.
I really appreciate the comment about the non-toxicity in the group, because it's the main focal point of what, like, our podcast,
what we're trying to do,
group, anything to do with like comments and that. It's what I focus a lot on, because I absolutely despise toxic behavior, especially in fandoms. Like, I've seen it in the Star Wars community, the Marvel community, and it's vile. And so thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of, like I say, of starting what it is. I didn't want to just, when I did have that idea of, like I say, Nerdy Up North, it was all aspects of nerdom, because to me, anything can be nerdy, and anything you're passionate about shouldn't be critiqued. Or, like, you should have that positive experience and that positive way of expressing it as well. So it doesn't always have to be negative. Like, see, I know a lot of people post things that you don't like. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of them type of topics, but I know there is the place. I don't mind the odd controversial topic as well, which I have started a few times, just to, not to stir the boat, but just to get people's opinions. And I've been amazed as well at how mature that's most of the responses. I know you can't police and keep everyone happy, especially when especially when people tell us that the group it's not what the group's for. But when I've started the group, it's a little bit.
It's like, I'm the person who started the group, and I'm the person who started the thread. Like, I'm the about.
Yeah, it couldn't be any more about.
But like I say, it's all interesting, and like I said, and it seems to be helping people. That's the thing I'm getting from it now, which I never thought in a million years it would be. Like I said, this was a project to stop me from going crazy during lockdown, and it's turned into a little bit more, which again, I don't want to get too emotional about. It means a lot to us.
I just jumped on the bandwagon and said, "Take me with you."
I think I got invited by like Grant and stuff like a few months ago, but jumped in. I've loved it. It is like a good positive space, because like I say, I'm in other sort of larger groups around like pop culture and stuff, and it's like they tend to go bad. So again, like, well done for keeping it under control and cool.
Thank you very much.
It's getting darker and darker in this room. It's worse than
it's the goth cast now.
The goth cast. Well, to be fair, next month is going to be turned into the goth podcast, when we've done all about Halloween and stuff. So a lot of interesting episodes and interesting ideas we've got for that. So fingers crossed at the work.
I should look forward to those.
Once the October is over with, I definitely want to arrange a wrestling, because like I am itching to talk. Wrestling has been my life since I was a child, so I'm desperate to talk.
You know, when you said, like, you've said in the past that you like watch stuff with your granddad. Like, my granddad loved wrestling, and he's not around anymore, but I still think of him whenever I watch wrestling, because it's like it was our thing.
Yeah, it's the same here. My granddad's has been gone, God, since 2000, and I don't follow it as much now, but I still keep up to date with it, because it's the last thing I have left, like to remind us of, not the last thing, but it's like the most poignant one. Like, I just remember, like, we watched English wrestling, we watched American wrestling, like it was just mine and his thing.
Yep, I'm wearing an AEW t-shirt right now, and wrestling is good again. I can confidently
say. Wrestling is good again. I am hyped. So yes, I would really love to have a sit-down conversation about that.
Oh, I would love to anytime. Like, I'll come back anytime for anything. Awesome. These have been great. I've had lots of fun.
And just to get the promotion out now, so like I say, if you've enjoyed this, please again like us, subscribe on YouTube. Like I said, we're on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music now as well. Again, just search Nerdy Up North. We do show up in more searches now, which is again scaring the hell out of us. But again, if you want to join our Facebook group, please, it's Nerdy Up North Community on Facebook. We've just launched the Nerdy Up North Book Club, which again, I don't really have too much involvement with, but I'm trying to support. And we're on Instagram as well, Nerdy Up North. We're growing there as well. We're almost at 2,500 followers on Instagram, which is just me just posting the memes that I find on the Facebook group. But, yes, so again, Jake, you've been an absolute star. Thank you so much for coming on. Like I say, again, hopefully it won't be too long till we'll have you on again. And I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Definitely enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me.
So remember, same bat time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.